Well, after a wild, and I do mean wild, and thrilling race weekend at Darlington Raceway, we had some wild and thrilling news in NASCAR this morning. No warning, no anything, just bam, it happened. Not, hey, reporting that this could happen or the deal's about to be finalized, just out of nowhere. It's a done deal, it's happening. NASCAR will have an in-season tournament starting in 2025. The deal will be between Prime Video and TNT Sports, with the seeding races being on Prime Video and with the actual tournament itself on TNT. Now, no, this does not have any impact on the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. It does not have any impact on the points, except for maybe if someone wrecks someone to advance in the tournament, maybe that has an impact. But other than that, no big impact on the championship. The biggest impact is on that middle portion of the season, and there's a grand prize, $1 million. Now, first, I am going to read you the details of it. As you can see, I'm not at my normal place. Well, that's because I was at Darlington watching Chris Buescher and Tyler Reddick fight. So if you haven't seen that video, go watch it, because I was very excited in that moment. Anyways, now to talk about this new NASCAR in-season tournament, the details of the tournament itself. As I said, it's going to be seeding races leading up to this thing. There will be 3 races that will be on Amazon Prime Video. Of course, they join NASCAR next season, along with TNT Sports, who returns to NASCAR. They will actually have the in-season tournament. They will have the knockout round. Now, all drivers are eligible for this thing, but ultimately it will be the top 32 who end up advancing into this tournament, this in-season knockout tournament. Now, this is what I originally thought the knockout playoff system was going to be, where it was like the 1 versus 16, the 2 versus the 15, they all knock each other out. That is not the case for the playoffs. This is the case, though, for this in-season championship. As I said, 32 drivers will be in this thing. All are eligible. But after those 3 setup races, those preliminary races, the seeding races, we will have our 32 drivers, 1 through 32, and it will be knockout. So we'll go from 32 to 16, 16 down to 8, 8 down to 4, 4 down to 2, and then we'll have our champion. And once again, the winner of the in-season tournament gets $1 million. So if this were to be this year, let's base it off of this year's calendar. I might be wrong on the timing of this. Obviously, we don't know the 2025 calendar, so just bear with me. I'm just going to do based off of 2024's calendar. So I think the way it works out is Amazon gets the NASCAR season starting in June, or maybe they get the Coke 600. I can't remember because we don't have the schedule yet, so I can't say anything like with confirmation, full confidence. But if we're basing it off this year's schedule, Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nashville would be the seeding races. So that would be who makes it into this tournament, 1 through 32, who's the 1 seed, who's the 13, who's the 18, things like that. And then if our first round of the in-season tournament were to happen here in grand old 2024, the Chicago Street Race would actually be the first round. And if they are looking for their March Madness moment, their March Madness upset, this would be where it happens, because it's a street race, it's a road course. You know, if Denny Hamlin's the 1 seed, he's not particularly great at road courses. And, you know, if he gets matched up against an AJ Allmendinger or something, then we could see a 132 upset, you know, things of that nature. But that would be the first round. Then we would narrow it down to 16, and this is when we get to the more normal racetracks in NASCAR. Pocono would be the second round. The third round would be the Brickyard 400. The fourth round would be at Richmond. And then finally the championship grand finale in-season tournament, whatever you want to call it, would actually be the championship, Michigan. So $1 million handed out at Michigan in this hypothetical situation. But yes, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of reactions to this too. I think a good majority are actually positive, which I appreciate. And if you've watched me, if you know me, you know I hate the NASCAR playoffs, and because they're stupid. Great logic there by me. So you may be thinking I think the same thing about this, but actually I kind of like it. Maybe that's hypocritical of me, but the thing about the playoffs is that's the big picture. That's the championship. That's the biggest trophy that gets handed out, and we're knocking people out. We're doing a 3-race mini season. We're doing a 1-race mini season to determine our season's champion. But this is a completely different situation. This is in the middle of the season, no championship implications. There's a big incentive with $1 million. I think it's kind of fun. Like the way the season breaks up. There's obviously the preseason hype with the Clash, and then we go to Daytona, the Daytona 500, the biggest race of the year. Lots of hype there. And you know that early season hype, it goes on through the West Coast swing essentially. Then after that 4th race, Phoenix or whatever, it kind of dies down a little bit. Sometimes it carries on. Like this year, I think it carried on a little bit. Then we get to some of the classic tracks like Darlington, Richmond, Bristol, Martinsville. But then we hit that early summer and even into the midsummer, and it's just like, okay, yeah, we're going to some of these tracks. Yeah, we're in the middle of the season. It's kind of just the middle part of the schedule. You don't really think much of it. I mean, that's really all I've got to say on it. And it's no disrespect to those tracks or that part of the season. It's just the way things work out with the NASCAR schedule, with how NASCAR is. The preseason hype, Daytona 500, and then there's a postseason. There's the playoffs, there's a championship, there's all this chaos that goes on, and then there's just the middle part of the schedule, and there's no real big incentive. Well, now we have that. We have $1 million on the line, and yes, you could argue the All-Star race is kind of in the middle of the schedule, but this is over multiple races. This gives every single team essentially a chance at the $1 million. We could see a Cinderella run from Justin Haley because he just got 9th at Darlington. We could see, a mid-pack team make it to the Final Four, make it to the championship race of this in-season tournament. This gives the mid-pack teams and the back-of-the-pack teams, I feel like, a better chance at winning this big incentive versus the All-Star race where you have to win the race or, the playoffs where the championship is the big thing. This gives you a legit shot. As I said, if that Chicago street race was indeed the first race, we could see the Colleague 16. If it was Allmendinger, if it was Shane Van Gisbergen in that car, we could see them upset a high seed who's not particularly a great road course racer like a Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, upset one of them. So there's a lot of situations that can play out in this thing. There's a lot of fun ways that are going to promote this, I'm sure. It's a new fun incentive. It's the way things are going. NASCAR's on a high right now. It's been a great season so far. Hopefully they can continue it into next year, but I'm sure this thing's going to get promoted a lot. But we're about to see someone, we're about to see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wreck Corey LaJoie for 23rd in the 18-19 matchup or however that math works out. All for advancing to face Denny Hamlin or Kyle Larson in the second round at Pocono. But thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. As I said, I am still traveling. I'll be home tomorrow, hopefully. And then I'll have my weekend video up, as I said in the comments of another video. I will have a story up on Thursday about Shane Van Gisbergen, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts are on this new in-season tournament.